Welcome to Spiritual Cartel's Principles meeting. Tonight, we are looking at the principle of faith. This week, I am pleased to introduce Nikoleta D, who has kindly agreed to come and share for us. Nikoleta, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sunny. Hi, everybody. Glad to be here. My name is Nikoleta. I am an addict and an alcoholic. My drug of no choice is alcohol and cocaine. Those are the ones that I experienced tremendous powerlessness, and that's what I identify with in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous. That's what we speak. That's the language of identification, is in the powerlessness. I'm really grateful to be here and to be invited to your meeting. I have so much respect and adoration for the Spiritual Cartel meeting and all of you who do service for it. My clean date is September 15, 2006. I still feel like a newcomer. You asked me to speak on fate. I don't know that I've ever spoken on fate particularly, so I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. But I'm going to share with you my experience in the last 18 plus years being in the fellowship and being exposed to this work. I'm a big believer. I'm actually absolutely madly in love with the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the process of the 12 steps. It was proportional to the amount of pain, confusion, and suffering and unhappiness and loneliness that I was experiencing prior to entering the rooms and being exposed to the solution. I know that we have 12 principles. I know that the principle of faith corresponds with the third step. I understand that faith, in definition, is trusting and relying upon something or someone. And when I think about my life, what I do realize is that I've always trusted and relied upon something or someone. It's just that before I came into the program of recovery, I was trusting and relying on me. I was trusting and relying on myself. I was trusting and relying on my mind and the narrative and the commentary in my head about life and about others and how things should be and how I should be and what should happen and what I should get and what I shouldn't experience. And as a result of that, I was always in conflict with life. I was always in conflict. I was always fighting something or someone. There was a tremendous amount of insecurity and this mental anxiety, which is another word for fear, that I was experiencing. And that requires relief. Alcohol and drugs are really attractive and look like medicine when I'm so tight and I'm so tense and I have so much mental noise and I'm always in argument with life, and that's pretty much like my story. I was born and raised in Serbia and in a family that already had experience with alcoholism, which I was warned about. I saw the destruction and devastation of it, and I saw all of us as family members suffering from the effects of my father's alcoholism and the divorce and everything that came with it, and the gambling addiction and whatnot. And, at some point in my life, I immigrated to New York City. And by the time I was 16 years old, I was living on my own and supporting myself. So, I'm very grateful for that. I did have to grow up very fast. But I also didn't have anyone to stand in the way of this experience that I was going to have with alcohol and with drugs, which started at the age of 16. I snorted my first line and took my first sip or actually I would say gulp, and I was in love. My mind stopped spinning and I was empowered to meet life. Life was overwhelming already. I was already suffering from the effects of the ism. I was already feeling disconnected. I was already feeling fear about how overwhelming life is. And once I took the drink and the drug, all of that calmed, and I felt empowered to meet life. And for the next decade or more, a little bit more than a decade, I had this love affair with booze and drugs. The only difference is that I don't have breaks. I suffer from the disease of more. I don't have one drink and I don't have one bag. Like one drink always leads to a second drink and one bag always leads to another bag. So, and all the consequences that come with that, which I didn't want to have, didn't feel that I deserved, was embarrassed about, was ashamed about. And I just, you know, continue to experience them over and over and over and over again because I had a mind that kept convincing me that I'm in control and that I got this and I know what I'm doing. And yet the results always seem to be different than what my mind was telling me. And, I didn't grow up with this idea that I could question my mind. And on September 14, 2006, under the influence of drugs and alcohol, I had a profound experience. My solution to my unhappiness and to this love affair that became like toxic and abusive with drugs and alcohol, basically, was to end my life. This is after multiple efforts to stop and moderate my use of drugs and alcohol, which I failed at. And I would say that my story is one of failure, and my story, and I successfully failed at managing my own life, managing my drinking, my thinking, my drugging, managing others, and things like that. And that's how I land in this fellowship where I get exposed to the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and a sponsor that was willing to tell me the truth about how sick I really was and what I really suffered from. And that this thing that I suffer from is inside of me. It's not in the substance. It's in me. And that the troubles are of my own making and that everything needed to be up for review. Everything. All of my old ideas, all of my thinking. And, I was beaten into a state of reasonableness, as the book talks about, by drugs and alcohol. I just got so tired. I came to a place of just not knowing. And, the best my mind came up with as a solution to that misery was suicide, So when I think about that, like, if it's up to me, I shouldn't be here. That's the best I do on my own power. That's the power of the mind and the power of reason, the God of reason, that I had tremendous amount of faith in. I never doubted it. I never questioned it. So faith is something that I believe we all have. But the direction and the attention of that faith, where was it? Prior to me coming into the rooms, it was from the neck up. And this is what the book talks about. This is the how and why of it. We need to quit playing God. And then right away it says why. Well, it doesn't work. And my question is, well, what's my experience of it not working? What was life like prior to me coming in here? Why am I open and willing to step into the unknown and to do this radical stuff that the 12 steps asks me to do, that I have no reference point for, and I have no experience with, unless I was beaten into a state of reasonableness, right? The byproduct of that step one experience of that surrender, being surrendered, being in a place of not knowing, seeing how much trouble I'm in, seeing that no matter what I do, even my own greatest desire to stop drinking or drugging, just to moderate it. I'm talking about days, guys. I'm not talking about for good and for all. I tried to not drink and drug for a day. A day. I'm not talking about here for good and for all. What is my experience with my own efforts to stop? How much power was in my own efforts to stop? And yet something profound happens this night that I admit to my innermost self that I can't stop, period. And there's like a manipulated pause. There's like this like silence and stillness in the mind. Just like time stopped, right? Did I know that at that moment? Like something was shifting, something got downloaded. I don't know what happened. I can't put it into words. I've been trying to honor it for 18 years. 18 years I'm honoring a split second in my life. 18 years. That's enough. That split second is enough. It changed the trajectory of my life completely. Who do I give credit to for that? Something or someone was doing for me what I could not do for myself. Something or someone did for me what I could not do for myself. And I come into the rooms and I'm like a byproduct of that experience is that I'm willing and I'm open. It's a byproduct. I'm not willing and open. I get willing and open. Because of that step one realization, no matter what I do, no matter what I want, I can't stop. I can't do this on my own, and I cannot do it on my own power, and I don't know how to do it. And I come into these fellowships, and I see others with more time than me, and some of you are pretty happy, and you exude a sense of stability and calmness about you, and you are attractive, and you're talking about a spiritual program of action. And you're talking about trust and reliance upon a higher power. And I am a total agnostic who, has a thesis in college that gave me my college diploma on trying to prove in 50 pages that there is no God, that I got an A on. That's how heavily I relied on my mind, on intelligence, And, I'm so broken and I'm so broken open that there's a woman standing in front of me and she's incredibly attractive and her whole way that she's in front of me screams at me that she has the answer, right? And, she's just like, she's confident and humble at the same time. And for whatever reason, I cannot bear to lie to her. Like I can't, I look into her eyes and I just want to tell the truth. Like I don't even know why. She asks me to do radical things, like sit quietly for 2 minutes a day. And nothing in me wants to do it, but what comes out of my mouth is yes. And she asks me to read this book called Alcoholics Anonymous, the big book. And I don't understand anything I'm reading. It's Japanese to me, but I'm reading it because she asked me to read it. Where did that willingness come from? That's the willingness. That's the born out of desperation of a drowning person. I knew I was in trouble and I knew I was dying. I didn't know the solution. I had no experience with the solution. The best solution I come up with on my own power is to kill myself, to end my life. This place is like pregnant with possibility. It's an invitation to deepen our experience in life. And in the big book, chapter 2, the agnostics is completely dedicated to why having faith is better than not having faith. And we can just look around. It says that, we need to see where religious people were right. Not that they were right, but where they were right. And why is it better to have faith than not to have faith in this higher power? And in this loving power. But what did that look like for me? This atheist, this agnostic. It didn't matter what you asked. It didn't matter what the book said. It didn't matter what I thought about it. It didn't matter whether I liked it or not. It didn't even matter that I wasn't sure that it would work for me. Because of that step one experience, I was just brought into a place of not trusting me. because I successfully failed at everything I sold to myself. I just didn't trust myself. That was the same mind that kept telling me that I can drink like a lady when I couldn't drink like a lady. That was the same mind that kept telling me that I could just have a couple of drinks when I could never have a couple of drinks. That was the same mind that kept telling me that I know what to do and I got it, and it never looked like I knew what I was doing and I didn't have it. So why would I trust that mind when it came to the rooms and an experience I didn't have yet with the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous? And for me, it was really this, step 2 was an invitation to stop fighting. That's what it was, really. It was an invitation to stop fighting. And step 3 was an invitation to step into the unknown. Right? It was just an invitation to step into the unknown. And I was willing. I was willing to have an experience with the steps. And it was only as a result of having an experience with the steps that I was able to see that I'm so much more than my mind. Right? And that this power that was all around me was also deep within me. And I had clarity to look at my life and see that there is a power greater than me that's at work and that everything around me is interconnected, and that it was like a spiritual surgery that happens as a result of the work we do. We just kind of align with life. Life is a greater power than me. How can I trust and cooperate with the inevitable? There's a spiritual teacher that talks about, absolute cooperation with the inevitable. Like, how can I trust life as it unfolds? Because the truth is, I cannot manage it. I cannot manage life, and life is unpredictable, and it's filled with heartbreak and surprises and challenges and all of that. And I cannot take any of that out of the picture because a different person would be sitting here in front of you today, right? All of those experiences in life have had value in my life. For me to either see something or experience something. But I couldn't have known that until I was willing to, step into the unknown and have faith in this program and the way it worked in you. I think one of the first ways that I had faith in something other than my mind is in you guys. The members that came before me, that showed a degree of stability and confidence, and you had a sense of direction and purpose, and there was a sense of happiness that you exuded, and peace, right? And I wanted that. And the book talks about this so much, and I do want to reference the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous a little bit. Here are thousands of men and women, worldly indeed. They flatly declare that since they have come to believe in a power greater than themselves, so that's step 2, to take a certain attitude toward that power. What was the attitude that I took toward that power? I wanted attitude. I wanted and I needed. And to do certain simple things, the rest of the steps. There has been a revolutionary change in their way of living and thinking. In the face of collapse and despair, in the face of the total failure of the human resources, they found that a new power, if it's a new power, it's a power I didn't have an experience with before. It's new. I don't know it. I don't have a reference point. I haven't been tapped into the depth of my being. I haven't experienced this presence with clarity, this God consciousness within me. That a new power, peace, happiness, and sense of direction flowed into them. This happened soon after they wholeheartedly, so that's the intent, that's a condition. The intention is wholeheartedly. Met a few simple requirements. What are the simple requirements? having an experience with the 12 steps. I got to do the work. I got to have an experience with the work, because the work is a work of subtraction. It took away everything that stood in the way. It questioned and reviewed all of my old ideas that I was living on, that I was basing my life and my life experience on, that presented for me always a conflict with life. I needed to review all of my old ideas. Once confused and baffled by the seeming futility of existence, they show the members, the underlying reasons why they were making heavy going of life, constantly being in the mental narrative and commentary of the mind. Leaving aside the drink or drug question, they tell why living was so unsatisfactory when I'm constantly discontent and restless. And life is unmanageable internally. My internal climate is always like I'm waking up and the shoe's about to drop. I just don't trust life. I don't trust anybody. I think everybody's pretending. I think everybody's manipulative. So I'm being manipulative. So I'm pretending. I'm being an actor. I'm wearing masks. I have expectations. I'm constantly on guard. I'm always tense. There's no vulnerability. There's no openness. I can't really be rigorously honest because I'm driven by fear. I'm driven by anxiety. I'm so self-absorbed that I'm only thinking about what's in it for me. I can't align with life ever. They show how the change came over them. Right? I didn't will the change. I didn't make the change happen. If I could, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you. Why would I devote my life to this fellowship and continued work and continued seeking of this power and continuously taking my own self-inventory so that I can clear the channel and align with life so that God's will and my will are aligned, which we get it back in step 10 and 11, by the way. But I got to do the work to align and see that they're one, that it's actually more natural to me to be honest and vulnerable and real, and that's what I really crave, than to pretend and act and try to control the uncontrollable and try to manage the unmanageable, thinking that I have power. How do I trust the infinite power? But by not trusting the finite self. How do I not trust the finite self? When I see that it doesn't work. We have to quit playing God. Why? Because it doesn't work. Do you see this in your experience? Do you see this in your experience? Nikoleta, do you see this in your experience? Yes, I came here and I already had steps 1, 2, and 3 experience without ever reading anything in this book. Life made that happen. I was open. I was willing. I was willing to step into the unknown. I had no more fight left in me. I had no idea what you guys were talking about. Why? Because I had no reference point. I didn't have an experience of taking my own inventory, writing resentments and fears and conduct, praying. But I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust the narrative in my mind. I didn't trust this God anymore. I trusted you. I trusted the fellowship. I trusted the book. I trusted my sponsor. Then I had my own experience, and that became faith. First I believed. Then I had the experience. Then I had faith. And you wake up a little bit. What happens? You want to wake up some more. That's natural. You want to align more. You want to get closer more. You become a seeker. A seeker of what? Truth. A seeker of truth. My definition of God has drastically changed in 18 years of this power. But even back then, I knew that life was a power greater than myself. I knew truth was a power greater than myself. I knew love was a power greater than myself. And I prayed to that. I prayed to know the truth, regardless of my preference or agenda. And then you get to have an experience, see the truth, because the truth will set you free. You become a little bit lighter and you're walking through life a little bit lighter in day-to-day life and you're like, man, this works. I'm having an experience. I'm not just believing your experience. I'm having an experience of being lighter. I'm waking up in the morning and I'm trusting no matter what happens today is meant to happen today. If it's not meant to happen, it wouldn't have happened. The problem is not what's happening. It's my commentary about it. And the book continuously asks me to look at things from a different perspective because I need a shift in perspective. I need a new pair of glasses because I'm not seeing things the way they are. I'm seeing things the way I am. And when I have a little bit more of an awakening, when I'm a little bit more connected to the power that's greater than me but deep within me, I get to see things differently. Then I don't argue with my dad dying prematurely and me not having enough time with me. I accept it in sadness and in tears. But I trust that it couldn't have been any other way. Because if it could have, it would have. And on and on and on. This is how we build spiritual fortitude. This is how we meet life as it is. And if I can meet life as it is, then I don't need to drink and drug. I don't need relief. I don't need to numb. I don't need to escape. I don't need to shut down the emotions. I've been given courage, strength. All men of faith have courage. The book talks about that. That's courage. To meet life on life's terms, not on my terms, so that it's convenient for me. So that the only thing that I experience is comfort for myself. No, but that's not life. I want to meet life. I want to feel alive. I want to be real. I want to see what the heart is capable of. And what I've seen so far in 18 years, that the heart is as wide as the world. It has enough space for it all. It can bear it all. You guys taught me that. I watched mothers and fathers in our fellowship bury their children with grace. I mean, most painful things happen without them picking up a drink or a drug. To meet life on life's terms. I cannot do that without faith. When many hundreds of people are able to say that the consciousness of the presence of God is today the most important fact of their lives, they present a powerful reason why one should have faith. You presented a powerful reason why I should step into the unknown and have an experience with the 12 steps and see what that does for me and how that shifts my experience of life. And now I see life as incredibly precious. Each day is a gift. Each day is an invitation for what God, heart, truth can hold. And a byproduct of this is this like spiritual fortitude, this openness, this ability to say yes even when I don't want to, and I don't feel like it, and I'm not in the mood, and I don't think I can do it. Because the truth is, yeah, I can't do it. There is truth to that. Yes, I cannot do it on my own power. I'm limited. God of reason is limited. The book talks about that. We were grateful that reason had brought us so far, but somehow we couldn't quite step ashore. I just couldn't quite step into the unknown. Leap of faith. I can't see it. I doubt it's there or present in my life. I doubt it knows me personally. Perhaps we had been leaning too heavily on reason, intelligence, the mind, my ideas, my narrative, my commentary, my perception of the way things are that are happening in front of me. That last mile, and we did not like to lose our support or my idea that I'm in control and that I'm somehow separate from life and from all of you. Like I have my own authority, that I run things, but I don't even breathe on my own power. Breathing happens. I don't grow my hair. I just don't cut my hair. I'm not even in charge of my body and what it does. This wisdom that I'm not in control and that I can't manage anything is constantly present. It is so in front of me that I'm constantly missing it. This is a spiritual path. My alcoholism and drug addiction are my spiritual path. Nothing else was going to bring me to my knees and open me up to be willing to seek the truth behind what the 12 steps. This is why 12 steps are so timeless. The book is so timeless. It's valid at all times across generations, in all nations, right? It points to some truth about life, about our human condition, and our part of the interconnectedness of all of life. There was something else really good I wanted to read from and my favorite. I just got to read my favorite. I don't even know if it applies. It probably applies. It does apply. I'm going to say it applies. But here it is. Actually, we were fooling ourselves for deep down. Where? Deep down. Where? Deep down. In every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. I was brought up not religiously at all, but there was this inkling that it was for the weak, it was something outside of myself, right? This religious concept that I, denied and fought against, It may be obscured by calamity, disaster, by pomp, that's pride, by worship of other things. Because we do worship other things. We have devotion for other things. We do have loyalty to other things. It's all of these things that are already part of my humanity that just need to be redirected. That's the transformation. Nothing is lost. It's just changed. Nothing is new. It's just seen more clearly. For faith in a power greater than ourselves and miraculous demonstrations of that power in human lives are facts as old as man himself. It's part of our makeup. It's what I seek, that discontentedness of that little girl way before she picked up a drink or a drug. I was suffering from full-blown alcoholism and drug addiction before I picked up a drink. That's why it suited me so much once I picked it up. That's why it became my solution. Because I was already feeling so separate from you, disconnected from life, disconnected from you. Because of what? Because of the belief in my mind, the narrative in my head, the commentary in my head of how life should be. How you should be, how I should be seen, what should happen and what shouldn't happen, what I'm entitled to and what I'm not entitled to, what I should expect and what I shouldn't expect. This is what we inventory. Our argument with life, our mistrust of life, of this existence, and the cards we've been dealt. We found the great reality deep down within us. In the last analysis, it is only there that he may be found. It was so with us. And that was so beautiful for me to read, because even though when I was at the third step, I didn't think that I experienced that connection deep down inside. Like I didn't have a connection to it because my head was full of ideas and thoughts and opinions and beliefs, and resentments, which were blocking me from really sitting with myself. I didn't really know myself. And I think this is a journey of discovery, and they talk about it, discovering and uncovering, and discarding and unlearning and subtracting. And that's what's so beautiful about it. That's what brings about the transformation, and connects me more to my heart so that I can see more clearly. So now that girl that used to come to thinking the shoe's about to drop because life can't be trusted and people can't be trusted, and afraid of the next moment, and always trying to manage the next moment. I wake up with a curiosity and a gratitude for another day to experience life and whatever life has to offer, with this sense, with this like real deep sense that no matter what, there is a lesson, or there is an experience, or there is an opportunity, no matter what comes my way. And the journey for me, it's been a journey of just allowing everything to be as it is. Allowing everything to be as it is. Because my life is not my life, you know. I've given my life up to this, to this power. I want to honor this power. I want to honor this love. I want to come from the eyes of that. And so if my life is not of my business, damn sure your life is not of my business. Not only should I not have a commentary on mine, but I should absolutely have no commentary on yours. I don't know what you need. I don't know what's best. I don't know if you should be experiencing that or not. I don't know if it's part of your journey. Because when I have my life to look at, and when I look at my life, I've betrayed myself. I've harmed people when I didn't mean to, and that wasn't my intention. I've made a ton of mistakes. I knew better, and yet that didn't have power. Self-will and knowledge didn't have the power to execute, to allow me to live more openly. There was no power behind it. And yet I get to experience this power. It gave me like a new set of eyes, a new way to look at the world, a shift in perspective. You know, like 10 people go see the same movie, and like all 10 of them have a different opinion of the movie and how it hits them. There is something beautiful when we include this power, when we include our heart into however we move in day-to-day life. You know, faith is what did that for me. And, you know, there's many places in the book that it talks about faith without works is dead. You know, I can talk about God all I want, but what are my amends like? What's my inventory like? What's my prayer life like? What is me sitting silently like? You know, what's my devotion? How do I honor this power? Right? I don't do right or moral things to be a good girl and check off a mark. It's deep within us. It feels more right to be connected to you than not. I feel lighter when I'm honest than when I'm lying, deceiving, scheming, manipulating. And yet I get to feel that even more in recovery because I can numb now. Like alcohol and drugs are not a solution. Today I get resentful and I want to like manipulate the truth a little bit. I feel like not right. I feel a burden, right? The whole universe, my whole body is like, it's like smarter than my head, you know? It's like always pointing to this, like align with me. Cooperate with the inevitable. You're not in charge. Trust the unfolding. Can I trust the unfolding of life? Can I allow everything to be as it is? I have absolute faith that no matter what, it can't be any other way. I have preferences, likes and dislikes. But in the background, there's an absolute trust. There's an absolute trust in whatever is unfolding, even when I can't see it. And I have scores of personal experiences in the 18 years to prove that have happened not on my own power, you know? And we talk about that a lot in our rooms as examples. So I don't know how much time that was. I have no idea how long I shared, but thanks so much for letting me share.